Welcome back to another episode of DIY Projects with Charles. Today I'm working on a 2017 Chrysler Pacifica with a 3.6 liter Pentastar engine. We have three fault codes on this vehicle. I remember one was a P0300, which is a misfire. It's also got I believe it was a P0218, and I can't remember what the last one is. I'll post all three of the fault codes when I do the video, but the issue appears to be the upstream O2 sensor on bank 2. So we're going to replace the the upstream O2 sensor on bank 1 and 2 if we can. That's kind of the plan here today, and then we'll see if we can eliminate these issues. So the O2 sensor is not given a correct reading to the PCM, and therefore we're getting the misfire, the hesitation, some of those other things that come along with a P0300 code. So at any rate, we're hoping that changing this O2 sensor out will fix the problem. Get started in just a minute. Okay, just to start with, the oxygen sensor on this vehicle right now I'm looking at bank 2, which is the one that's closest to the radiator. Bank 1 is back there in the back, closest to the firewall. So at any rate, the O2 sensor is, you can see it in the screen right there coming off of the top of the exhaust manifold. So we'll have to spray that with some lubricant, try to get it so it'll loosen up and break loose, because it's in the exhaust and those are usually pretty tight. But we're going to follow that wire. You can kind of see it goes around in front of the radiator and then it drops down over here on this side. I'm not sure exactly where it ends up, but we'll chase that wire and figure out where that connector is, and then we'll get that wire disconnected, and then we'll try and wrench on that O2 sensor and see if we can break it loose out of the exhaust. So according to the code, I believe it was the one on bank 2 that was giving us the trouble, so it would be this sensor. But we've got two O2 sensors, so we're gonna replace both of them if we can. So it really depends on what it takes for us to get back into the back one and get it out. We'll play with that after we get this one done. So we're gonna start on that first, and then we'll come back. Okay, at this point, we've removed the air box. We've removed a couple of other pieces up here just to give us a little better access. So the fault code is for the upstream oxygen sensor on bank 2, which is the one I'm showing here right at the moment. I'll point to it because it's not the best lighting in the world, but this right here is the upstream oxygen sensor on bank 2. Bank 2 is the one in the front next to the radiator. Then there's also a downstream O2 sensor, which is this direction. See if I can get trying to get it on camera here. The downstream O2 sensor is not the easiest thing to get pointed to. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. Well, that hose is right in the way. Maybe I can come in this direction and see if I can get on it. But here, bring that light around to the other side. Yeah, that's good. Let's try that. And get my fingers out of the way. So, okay, yep. All right, so the downstream oxygen sensor is right there. Okay, so it's kind of like a river. You know, this one is downriver from the exhaust manifold, and the other one is upriver. And the computer is using input from both of those sensors to determine whether the air-fuel mixture is correct, and it will make the adjustments based upon that. So right now, because we believe this upstream sensor is faulty, it's given us a bad reading. The computer is not getting it correctly, and we're not getting a good enough reading on air fuel. Therefore, we're getting the rough running, etc. So that's why we're going to swap this out today and see what kind of a difference it makes once we get that done. Okay, so I followed that wire from the oxygen sensor. I got it here in my hand. Yeah. So it ran back over here and plugs in right over here, and it's hard to see from that shot. You know, I understand that, but there's a button on the top of this connector right here. You have to push in order to release the harness, and so I pulled that harness off, and I just kind of moved it out of the way. Now this is typically where once I get the connector secured and out of the way, I go to my new one. So this is a Bosch O2 sensor that we purchased to replace this with, and I immediately take a look at the connectors to make sure that the connectors are the same, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to get into the middle of this repair and then realize that you bought the wrong sensor, or it's not going to plug up, etc. So we just verified that the connectors are the same. So it looks like we got the right oxygen sensor, and so these kind of looks like a spark plug with a wire on the end of it. But at any rate, so we've got to get on this nut here, this hex head, and unscrew this thing out of the exhaust, and that's the next step. And then we'll go to put this one in. You can kind of see what this thing looks like, where it is sensing the exhaust gases. And so at any rate, we'll get the other one broke loose, then we'll get this one plugged into it in its place, and we'll go to the next step, which would be then trying to get the one in the back of the engine on bank 1, which I suspect is going to be more difficult, that is tighter to get to there. We may be able to get to it from the top of the engine, but probably end up having to come from underneath the vehicle. So we'll see how that plays out as we go. All right, we're back. I just got this one removed. So this is the old one. You can kind of see it's a little, well, discolored, dirty, what you want to call it. I mean, this thing sits in the exhaust manifold, so it's going to get superheated. It's designed for that. But at any rate, after a while they start to fail, and so there's the old one, there's the new one, side-by-side comparison. Getting ready to go ahead and put this one in, and at least wrap this front one up and move on perhaps to the back one. We'll see how difficult it is to get to it. Hang on, we'll be right back. Alright, I'm going to talk real quick about how we removed this one. It was in the engine sort of like this, at an angle about like that. At any rate, this tool is designed specifically for removing oxygen sensors. It's a 7/8 inch hex head. It's designed with the split in it here so you can slide it over the wire. It's got a 3/8 drive connection right here for your breakover bar, ratchet, whatever it is you're going to use. And basically what you're going to do is you slide the wiring harness through the slot like so, and once you get the wiring harness in, then you just slide the whole socket assembly down and lock it over the O2 sensor like that. Okay, now then this is a tool, by the way, that I picked up from Harbor Freight. I get a lot of tools from Harbor Freight, including this one, which is the other part that we use to help with this process. Now this ratcheting extension is actually used for tightening up and loosening serpentine belt pulleys, but in this particular case it worked out perfectly for this job as well. Trying to find, here we go. This is what the box looks like. Serpentine belt tool. It's an Icon brand. It's got a lot of different attachments and whatnot. So I use the 3/8 adapter that goes into here, and I put it right here on this end. Plugged it into a short extension. It's maybe a 1-inch extension or so, and it gave me enough leverage to snap this thing loose. Now you're going to need some leverage because because this thing is threaded into the exhaust, you know, to the average person, it might as well feel like it's welded in there. Yeah, I mean, it's in there that tight. So you got to spray it real good with some WD-40 or some PB Blast. That stuff does a really good job. You let it sit for an hour or so, soak in real good, and then try and come back and break it loose. But you got to have some leverage, and this thing's probably, I don't know, 18, 20 inches long. It's got some good length to it. And I just got it up in the right place, and I came in from this side of the engine, over here by the battery, and I ran the tool right along the front of the radiator here, and I was able to get in a good position. I could reach down in this hole here, and I was able to pull up on it and break it loose. So that's how we made that happen. I wanted to kind of show you how that part of it works, so you know what you need to do in order to get this thing out, because they don't come out easy, and there is a process. So anyways, that was the process on this one. All right, we'll get started here, try and wrap this thing up. Stay tuned. All right, we finished the 2017 Chrysler Pacifica. We did replace both of the Upstream O2 sensors on both the bank 1 and bank 2, so the front and the back. You know, these, I don't know how long it takes for them to start looking like this, but it looked pretty ratty. Anyways, bottom line was I didn't have to clear any codes after the install. We started the vehicle up. There were no codes, so that did completely take care of the issue. The car's back on the road, is running great, and so that wraps up this episode of DIY Projects with Charles. And if you liked it, please subscribe. Thank you.